Okay, so this is Great by Choice chapter video summary chapter 2, and the title of this one is called 10Xers. So the very first thing that the chapter jumps into is a contrast between two men with the names, historical last names, Arnmundsen and Scott. And it basically asks you to compare yourself to these two men and to identify yourself which one you think you're more similar to, because they're both in an epic race to the South Pole for a good research question. And it talks about how Amundsen is more intensity all the time, never really on the fly, always prepared for anything. And Scott is a guy that will not really be too prepared. He'll just approach things on the fly. They said he could have went to live with Eskimos, he could have lived in the mountain, he could have done whatever he wanted, and it wouldn't really have mattered. So after that brief introduction to those two men, who are two examples of 10Xers, which, in case you don't know, 10Xers, it means that they increased their industry by 10 times compared to everyone else. And something really, really important that I think that leaders should also do, that this chapter emphasizes on in their experiments, is that 10Xers, or the different people, as I guess we would refer to it as, they accept that without complaint that it is not the conditions that will make or break how well you do. It is your behavior and your mindset. So basically what that means, you could be set up for success in every way. You could be put in the perfect work environment, perfect people around you, have perfect relationships, but if you have a negative mindset up here, and you don't have that always thinking forward, and you don't have, I don't know, the creativity or the willingness to work hard, then you still won't get anywhere, because what they found is that the great leaders do, in fact, they don't complain. They accept that the things that they can't control are going to happen. And they also utterly reject the idea that luck, chaos, or any other external factor is going to determine whether they succeed or fail. They know that it's in their control and it's up to them. They don't have to rely on other forces to determine their destiny. So there are 3 other traits that go along with the 10Xers, and the first of these is fanatic discipline, which is basically the extreme consistency of action, consistency in general with like values, goals, performance standards, discipline, and other various goals. It's staying consistent is the key. Next one of these is empirical creativity, which is the idea that when these people, these 10Xers, they're faced with uncertainty, then they're not going to look to other people. They're not going to look for help. They're not going to falter under pressure. They're going to be at their boldest. They're going to be at their bravest in these times, and they're going to excel. And I think that's really important, because in the workplace, there's going to be really stressful times, and it's important to know how to thrive in these times. And there's also the third concept, which is productive paranoia, which basically means that people, they're hyperactive. They know this means they're aware of their surroundings. So like any threats, when everyone's turned against them, when they're in the worst situation, then they'll thrive, and they'll turn, for a better term of words there, they'll turn their worries and their fears into action. So they'll use the things that are supposedly hurting them, and they'll turn them from weaknesses into strengths. And yeah, so basically this chapter was explaining what 10Xers were, and they used the two men known as Amundsen and Scott as examples, and a pretty interesting chapter too, to follow up with the introduction.